earlier about San Jose being an oak woodland and grassland. Well, here's an example. This is what we have in the nursery to help people understand, you know, what their plant community is. So here is a photograph of an oak woodland garden that I designed from the book. And then here is a description of what the oak woodland plant community is and how you can establish an oak woodland garden in your home. Okay, so here we've got, this is a toyon, and it's called Davis Gold, and you see it has the gold berries. Typically toyon has red berries, but this is a selection from UC Davis, and it's beautiful for its yellow berries. Now this is a wonderful shrub. It gets, you know, 15 or 20 feet tall if you let it, or you can keep it at a smaller size if you prune it. And the cool thing about the toyon, it's evergreen, it's great for a screen, but it also attracts the cedar waxwings. So in the wintertime, if you have toyon in your garden, the cedar waxwings will come and you may have 100 cedar waxwing birds getting drunk on toyon berries. Anyway, I love this plant. And another name for this plant is Hollywood plant, because this is a plant that the settlers who first came on this area of California that we call Hollywood, they saw this plant growing and the berries were red and it was close to winter time, and so they called the area Hollywood. All right, now we're moving into the chaparral, and I talked about the chaparral earlier. These are the plants that grow in the mountains. And they have to have really good drainage because they're on this mountain slope. And so typically one of the most beautiful ones, and this is one that people love, is the hummingbird fuchsia. And you can see why they love this plant, because it's just full of these gorgeous red-orange flowers. And they're shaped with the long tube, and that tells you that it's a hummingbird flower, that it evolved with the hummingbird. And this plant provides nectar for the hummingbird. So it's a wonderful plant. It blooms for a long time. It blooms middle summer into the fall and is wonderful as a colorful plant in the native garden. Another great plant that blooms long, and you can get a double bloom out of it if you cut it back, is the monkey flower. And this happens to be a red form. The typical one is more of an apricot color. But this is called sticky monkey flower, and it's sticky. The leaves are kind of sticky, and it's a great plant for color in the garden and also a wonderful pollinator plant. Now here is the more typical one. This is what we call the species one, and this is also called sticky monkey flower, and it has the apricot flower. And see the two of them together, very nice. And here we are in November, blooming, which is a little unusual. In nature, they might not bloom like that in November, but you know, that's what the nursery business is all about.
Keep going.
All right, okay. Now we're in an area, this is a coastal scrub area. So these are plants that grow along the coast. And the way you can use coastal plants is if your house, if the front of your house is in shade in the afternoon, but it gets morning sun, then that's a great environment for a coastal plant community. And here you can see there's succulents. You know, some of these succulents, of course, you know, succulents require a lot less water. Now, another important caveat with a coastal bluff is you still have to build the mounds, because you have to think about, well, how do these plants grow in nature? You know, they're growing on the steep slopes of the coast, and they need a little summer water because they're getting fog year-round. So all these things are really important to be aware of, you know, where these plants grow in their natural world. Now this is a beautiful plant that does flower. This flowers this time of year. This is called island snapdragon, and this is part of a coastal bluff plant community off the coast of Santa Barbara called the Channel Islands. And we actually have a chapter in our book called the Channel Island chapter, and they have just gorgeous plants out there in the Channel Islands. Here's another one from the Channel Islands, and this is called island yarrow. Our typical yarrow on the mainland is more of an off-white oatmeal color, but the island yarrow is pink, and it's really, really attractive. And these flowers, this plant will bloom for a long time. Yes, all of the native plants, one of the most wonderful parts about working with native plants is that they attract the native pollinators. And the pollinators attract the predator insects. And so you have a real diverse insect population providing lots of food for birds. So you have more species of birds because of the native plants. If you have a typical garden, a non-native garden, you're not going to attract the diversity, the variety of wildlife that you will with a native garden. So that's a real benefit of gardening with natives.